All right, there we go. Cool. So in this one, we're going to go over Caldera. It's a C2 server brought to you by Mitre. GitHub is right here. Comes with a plugin tool so you can build your own plugins. We're going to focus more on the install using Docker, as well as just running a few agents. Show you what you can do with it. Up here, you'll see this link. This will take you over to their documentation, so you can read through here. I would also recommend a few YouTube videos I can put in a link. But anyways, get comfortable with the MITRE attack framework, basically understand the kill chains. And then Navigator helps. It's also built into Caldera, but either way, useful to map out the kill chain. We'll get into that as well. Anyways, let's start with the build process. So we've already get cloned. The way to do that is via down here. You can see the recursive. And then from here, we'll actually just follow the documentation for the Docker install, which I've already started. So when build true, it's done. Then the command I run, I want all these ports. So we're going to kick that off. Okay. LS. Cool, so it's running. Alright, so here we are. One word of caution, update the config default, otherwise you're going to be using all default creds, which is not what you want. I've gone ahead and made a temp file, so I can go ahead and just cat that. Documentation will go over this, but either way, we're more interested in this part right here. So we have 3 users. We have blue, red, and admin. We're going to focus on red. You can log in as blue for the blue team. In this case, we want red. And now that we're logged in, you can go through the training, get these certificates, all that fun stuff. Make this bigger. Okay, cool. Everything's pretty straightforward. You have your left-hand navigation for your campaigns, plugins, configuration. We're going to focus on the agents. So in this case, we're going to go to configure, your beacon timer, minimum 30-second callback time, watchdog. I mean, if you run your mouse over these, they'll also fill you in what's going on. Untrusted timer, basically untrusted beacons will allow a little leeway there. Anyways, and then your implant name. Change that to whatever you want. In this case, we're just going to leave it as default. What really got me was the bootstrap and the deadman abilities. Bootstrap basically says, as this fires off, kick off all these capabilities. And capabilities are basically one-liner code, says do X. So in this case, we're going to do a few. We're going to check for Go. We're going to check for Python. And what else we got? Let's do a check for Chrome. And then a deadman ability. I mean, for me, it's no brainer. Clear the logs, right? Go ahead and save that. Okay. Now we're going to deploy an agent. They have 3 choices: TCP, HTML, and then an HTTP client. I'm going with that. It's called Sandcat. They use Golang, so it is kind of a beefier payload, but it'll run on all platforms. Well, Linux, Windows, and Darwin, Mac OS X. Yeah. Let's go to Linux, and then you have a bunch of different options to deploy it, right? So this one, if we're going to use this one, but this will basically spit out everything in the command line so we can see what's going on. But as you can see, like there's blue team agents, there's random name agents, there, yeah. Yeah, all these different options. So first things first is we need to update our C2 server. Okay, now we're just going to copy line by line. In this case, I've got 2 Docker images running Debian and Ubuntu. So let's just go ahead and pop these on over here. And it's taking its time, so I assume that downloaded. Shell H. Splunk D, 5.7 megabytes. Like I said, it's Golang, they're beefy, but there's many ways to obfuscate and get these things onto the box. In reality, we should be writing to memory, not disk, as I just did, but this is a demo, so we'll call it good. Let's see. Splunk. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and chmod that. Okay, and now we're going to kick them off. And as you can see, we had a few instructions set. And after that, you'll start seeing these beacon alive. So we see both our agents, and we can see the privileges are elevated. We are running as root. If you click on each one, you'll get some information. These are Docker images, so IP is going to be internal. But yeah, we can get an idea of architecture, executors, things like that. Both of them will go into detail. And then if you want to see those bootstrapping capabilities, they should be in access. So let's click on this guy. You can see up front 2 passed. So void logs, that one went fine. And then this one says, oh yeah, we've got go on this guy. These failed. Python's kind of like, you should always check them, because in this case we did get output. We did get an exit error code, so that's why it failed. But in reality, we can see we've got Python 2.7. Same with Chrome. There's no output, meaning it failed. Okay, check the other one. This one does not have Go, but we'll check Python, and yeah, 2.7. Okay, let's go back to abilities. So abilities are basically anything within the Mitre attack framework that allows you to replicate a threat. What is a threat? Well, we're going to stay within the red teaming aspect here. So in this case, we're talking about threat actors, apt groups, advanced persistent threats. Think of these guys like ransomware groups, nation-state threat actors, people that really know what they're doing to accomplish their goals. As a red team engineer, and even in purple team, depending on what you're trying to accomplish, you're going to emulate what they're doing. You can also do your own, because as red team engineers, we should be pretty fluent in pen testing. So as we get like our own kill chains built, we can build our own, and we're going to go over that. For now, just understand abilities are basically what you'd find in the TTPs. So right now, before we create ability, we're going to create an adversary. What I really love about Caldera is it has built-in threat actors. So you can see all these different profiles we can use. In this case, we're going to create a new one because I'm sure most of you have jobs and you want to create your own. So in this case, we'll just say my company red team. And we'll say this is our company's, if I could spell, kill chain. Okay, cool. So go ahead and create it. And we're going to leave this as is. Actually, you know what? Let's add a few abilities. Let's do exactly what we did. Let's do a check. So we'll say check Python. You can leave all the defaults if you want. Since this is a test Docker image, I'm just going to blow out what I don't want. I don't need Darwin. We do need Linux. We don't want Windows. And as you can see, this is what's running. Okay, let's save that one. Let's add one more ability. Let's do a check for, I don't know, let's just throw in security services, see what happens. Oh, these are Windows. Never mind. Let's not do that. Let's do a check for just Chrome. That works. Get rid of Darwin, keep Linux, and what I really love is it gives you the technique ID and the tactic. So in this case, it's discovery, technique. Actually, let's map this real quick. So if we go into tactics, go to enterprise, you can also do it from techniques, but for now, we're going to go through here, go to discovery. As you can see, this one right here, you have all of your techniques. Shit, where'd you go? There you are. So we want this one. It says software discovery, so it should be software discovery. It is. Get a little thing about it. You can click on software discovery. I mean, get all this information. Usually what I'll do with this is I'll stuff it through vector so we can like monitor it that way and get our reporting. If you're not familiar with Vector, well, let's pull it up. Security Risk Advisors Vector. Kind of like a red team, blue team, purple team, a way to track what you're doing. This way allows your operators to just run whatever we ask them to do and build metrics off of it, so we can see where our security posture is as a company. If you're curious about this, I'll probably create a video on it just because it is super useful. Okay, so back to what we were doing. Again, this Mitre attack thing, I'm sure you guys want to see this. Yeah, Navigator is basically what we just looked at through here. As you saw in that heat map, I think I just bypassed it. Right here. So same thing, but in this case, Navigator is going to come up in Caldera because they actually built it into it, which is really cool as a plugin. But yeah, you can manually do it this way if you want, or you can go back to Caldera, which we're going to do. And it'll map out all these things that we do here. So in this case, we're going to do Google Chrome, leave this as is, save and add. And then we don't have all of the abilities we would want, right? So like, let's go to, oh shit, did I just lose that? No, I did. Make sure you save profile. If you don't, it won't execute. So save that. We're gonna go over to operations. No, we're not. We need an ability. Let's create one. So we need a custom ability. We're gonna call this LinPeas. Really popular tool among pen testers and red teamers. Quick way to enumerate the hosts so we can figure out ways to escalate our privileges. So we'll just say LinPeas tool for discovery. We'll call this a discovery. I know this already because it's discovery tactic. And then the technique, it does fall under a number of different techniques. So let's just kind of run with it. Let's go over here, go to discovery. Let's do file and directory. So we're going to follow this one, T1083. T1083. Okay, cool. Technique name, file, and oh shit, it was right there. Okay. Okay, let's create a command. Typically, we want to run this in memory. It would be wise to actually run this in memory, but for the sake of this, we're going to write to disk. Maybe you actually want to do that as a purple team engagement. Maybe you want to see if the tool you just bought will catch this, right? So let's go and do that. So let's do LinPeas, GitHub. If you're not familiar with this tool and you're a pen tester, get used to this tool. It's awesome. Anyways, we're going to grab this. And this is exactly how you'd run it in memory. But for this, we want it to kick off, right? So we're going to throw in the command. We're going to do wget-c, and then we're going to output it to dev shmem. We're basically creating a RAM disk, you know, stuffing it in RAM. And then let's say the instance reboots, it's gone. We do need to name it though, so let's go and do that. Okay. You can add cleanups. I mean, if you wanted to, you could really string this thing out. So what we'll do is we'll actually do, let's do that. Let's do exactly that. Let's go ahead and kick it off. And we will tee this to out, okay? And then for us, let's do a cleanup command of like rm/rf this. I'm not going to blow out the out file just yet, but we'll save that. Close. And look for LinPeas. Hey, we've got a new capability here, okay? So what we're going to do is go back to our adversary profile. We're going to add my company. Sorry. Let's go ahead and add that ability. So we'll do LinPeas. Okay, we've got it. It's Linux. Kicking off as a shell. Okay, and let's go ahead and save that. Okay, again, save your profile. Don't forget to do that. I've had this bite me in the ass so many times. Anyways, it's here. It's under Tactics, Discovery. We've got it. Cool. So let's go back to our agents. We can see they're both still alive, and if we check our shells, I mean, you can see they're just like calling back. We've got a beacon, right? Cool. So let's go to operations, and we're going to create a new one. let's go ahead and create, let's just call it YOLO swag 420. Okay, cool. And then we're going to go call this one my company. Where are you at? Maybe I just can't read. Ah, there it is. It's the very bottom. So basically we're going to emulate the adversary, which is my company -red team, right? This is our kill chain. In this case, we're just doing discovery. But anyways, let's go ahead and kick this off. Also, another thing is this fact source. You can reference previous operations, so it'll pull in that data. Just FYI. Okay, let's go ahead and start. And now this will just kick off. And it'll do one by one. I'm actually surprised. Oh yeah, it's because of the different hosts. And then it'll allow you to view the command, right? You can see this. And then this collect will change statuses to whether it passed, failed, timed out. Usually when you add like a sleep command, expect it to time out. We've already got our first failure. That was from this host right here. You can see that we had the instruction. This one just kicked off. They both failed. We can view the output. Again, Python 2.7 is there, but since there was a return error code, it's going to show as a failure. We could separate these out into different abilities, right? Python 2, Python 3. We probably should do that. Let's close that. And in this case, we're checking for go. Those will kick off. While we're waiting for these to kick off, let's move on. So let's go down to, okay, so plugins. Again, you see these, you see this one, yeah. Let's go to Compass. So remember that Mitre attack framework, right? It's built right in. So what we're going to do is select our adversary, and we're going to generate the layer. Layer.json, right? So now let's open existing upload, and we'll do downloads, and we'll do layer.json. Yes, it is an older version. Just go ahead and do it. And as you can see, it's highlighted file discovery, software discovery. I don't know if it'll do, yeah. And then you can like scroll through this and get to where you need to be. I'm just gonna like minimize, get an idea what's out there, but as you can see, we've only done discovery. Cool. Let me move on. Let's make this a little bigger. Okay, cool. So debrief, you can see, select one or more operations. So we select this one. You can see that from the C2 server, we're able to compromise this host and this host. And as you start compromising more hosts or tunnel through different hosts, you'll actually see it here, which is awesome, super helpful. Agents, steps. You can actually see the commands here, which is cool. Tactics and techniques. I don't think it'll really pull that. Fact graph. Yeah, I guess if you just run your mouse over, you can get a little more data about this. Okay. But as you can see, like the threat map is super useful. That way you can keep an idea of how this is all going to work. You can download it, PDF, graph settings, whatever. Okay, and then let's see. So the other options are is like if you did a TCP client, you'd communicate through here. Sandcat, you know, just tells you what we just used. Go to your agents to interface with this. Stockpile, yeah, tells you everything about it, but basically all of the TTP is built into here, what you can use. Okay, let's go back to our operation. Hey, they were successful. So Chrome, obviously not there. If we view this command, yes, output, you can see that we downloaded the file. It does not show you the output though, which is not helpful, but what we can do is we can create a manual command and say cat dev shmem linpeas.out. Assuming I spelled that right, this will work out great. Okay, and so we have to do one for each one, right? One for each host. So we need to do one for the other host, so add this command. Let's add another one. This one, run it under a shell, add it. So at this point, assuming that file does exist, we'll get some output. And since linpeas does color code things, it actually prints out the entire content. So you can copy that file out, bring it locally, and then print it out so it does print the color. So both of them kicked off. You can see we got all these little bits of info, right? Scroll down, here's LinPs. You can see all this information. Not really useful in its current aspect because LinPs color codes. So yes, you can pull this down and sort through the color coding that you know, or print it so it prints the color. Cool. And then once we're done, we can download it. So let's say agent output, we want that. Unless there's a bunch of sensitive content, we can cut that out. But we can get the full report. It comes out in, I believe, JSON. You can switch it over to CSV as well. But if we download this, show in folder, you know what, let's just do this. So swag for 20, cat, yellow, JQ dot less. Oh, I don't have JQ on here. Hang on. Oh, did I miss it? Oh, I did. All right, 1 second. Okay. There we go. So you can like see username, stuff like that. Scroll down here. If we do like a LinPs, here we go. So you get these abilities. You can see what ability was ran. In this case, was LinPs. And since it's in JSON, you can like use a collector to collect this information and bring it into something useful, or you can do CSV, import into a database. Obviously older style, not the NoDB. Anyways, yeah, a lot of functionality. The reason why I'm bringing this up, super useful for threat emulation or your own personal red teams. Hope you found this useful. Yep, that's all I got. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Thanks.